The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Exploring new paths leading to new possibilities that challenge conventional thinking and lead to new and innovative solutions. Stay engaged and informed for creative insights that support a mature generation. Welcome to New Age Aging. Welcome to New Age Aging, where we explore the issues connected with an aging population and learn how to empower ourselves and our culture to rise above and even benefit from these changes. For today's topic, we will be looking at the many aspects of volunteering for the older adult. Volunteerism is a valuable form of civic engagement that not only benefits the community and environment, but also has much benefit for the older volunteers themselves. We will be exploring these personal benefits, as well as understanding the personal commitment needed for a successful volunteering experience. To help me look at this area is Pat Henderson, a person who needs no introduction to the crew of New Age Aging. She has been helping us in the background since the initial planning of New Age Aging. In front of the camera for the first time, she will offer her perspectives from her extensive volunteering experiences in both the community and corporate settings, where she is often gathering and coordinating volunteers. I am pleased to welcome Pat Henderson as our guest for today's episode.
Hi, Lee. Thank you.
I've known you for a little while. You bring in lots of volunteers in your efforts. So I believe that you will have a lot to tell my viewers today. And so let us get straight to it. The reasons that older people will volunteer. What is in it for them? Why would they even engage in volunteerism?
Well, in thinking about volunteering, I realized that there's a big difference between why people 55 and younger would volunteer and those 55 and older volunteer. Raising children, for example, and you have young ones in the school system, you're always finding yourself volunteering for them. You're in the school in the room as a room mom. You do some cafeteria monitoring. You're on a field trip. You're stitching outfits for the school play. You're always on the go with them. Now, in this age, 55 and older group, they're looking to find opportunities that strikes a chord within them. I think the major reason why people go outside of the home is so that they stay connected with the world at large, with their community, with certain groups, to feel engaged. They have the freedom, some freedom, apart from their home life and their work life. And especially for those reaching retirement age, if they have retired, now's the opportunity for them to really get out there and be a part of what's happening. They actually did a study that showed that the seniors who volunteer live happier and healthier lives. And I think the emphasis on healthier individuals is what I think our senior population is looking for.
Now, the benefits are not just to the volunteers. Our communities rely heavily on our volunteers, and they do a lot of good. What's your experience in terms of how these volunteers are benefiting their community?
Well, I have a personal experience in my own family. I have a brother-in-law who has been running marathons his whole life. He's very active. He was a school teacher. He's in his 70s now. He still jogs and runs marathons, believe it or not. And in his community, he works with children's groups, and he gives back to the community. His experiences with children, his experiences with the physical fitness aspect of it, and he goes out of his way to encourage children to be fit, to run, to exercise, and he gets out there and he does it with them. And you need people who have that kind of activity or willingness to give back to the younger generation, or even helping with their own generation, because not everybody in their own generation is healthy. So there's a lot of giving back and a lot of reward for them as well.
Now, you mentioned your brother-in-law promoting a cause that he feels attached to. I find in the research I've done on volunteerism that this is critical, that what we volunteer for is just as important as volunteering, because in the case of your brother-in-law, he feels a passion for fitness that he'd like to share with others. And as volunteerism is centered around that passion, when you connect your service to others with your personal passion, that brings something powerful, not just to your life, but to the life of others as well.
That seems to be the key ingredient. And going back to what I was saying before, where volunteering efforts in our younger years are geared towards always giving to someone else. But now we're using our passions to give back to the community. And in doing that, it's giving back to us because it's what we love.
So it's important to find a volunteering activity that connects to your passion. However, I found that in my own research for this episode, I found that there are various types of volunteering activities or volunteering structures that can happen. First, there's the traditional volunteering that you do in your church or in a synagogue, where that's basically ongoing. You fulfill a role, you play a role in that constantly. This is an ongoing volunteering situation. Then there is seasonal volunteering that may happen only in the summertime or in the wintertime. We'll talk more about that later on. There's also something that was fascinating to me. It's called micro-volunteering, usually from your home, from your own home. I don't know much about this. This is a new area of volunteering where as long as you have a computer and an internet connection, you can find opportunities to give back and to serve. This, even if you have a particular passion for fitness and you're home, you can serve all over the country through your computer, or if you have a political cause you're trying to foster, or any passion you may have. They have websites now that are devoted to connecting you and various opportunities that you can do from your home. So the commitment, the time commitment, can be defined by you, fairly flexible. As I've been looking at some of these websites, there's a few websites that are dedicated simply to that kind of volunteering. So that whole area of participating, getting involved from the comfort of your own living room, so to speak, is growing larger and larger. There are other types of volunteering commitments that you can make. For example, one-time events. You can volunteer at your theater that gives concerts and stuff like that, to be an usher, or if they give operas or something like that. This, of course, there's benefits to the volunteer. They get to see the free show, but you're also providing a service. They do need volunteers to cater to these events. This is single one-time events, but you'd have to sign up beforehand to let them know that you're available for these sort of things. But the time commitments there are sporadic. You have to be available for particular events. So the time commitments we're talking about in terms of volunteerism can be controlled by you. Once you understand what's on the full spectrum of volunteerism here, you can design your own time commitments to suit your life.
If they're still within the working environment, their company may sponsor many opportunities for volunteering. Typically, they're around seasonal events. If you just look at your company website, you might find opportunities. Sometimes even small things within the group encourages more people to take part in it as a group activity. If you're retired and you have companies that you work with, or maybe even you really like your local hospital. Let's say you think they're fantastic. You were hurt once, you were in the hospital once, you thought everybody there was fabulous. You could go there and find opportunities to give back to the hospital. You could rock a baby in the nursery. I mean, there's just a number of things. They have a lot of people that do volunteer work. But you need to find these opportunities. They're everywhere, and all you need to do is ask.
In the research I've done for this episode, I've sort of categorized the activities that volunteers get into. First, there's the direct service work. Those volunteers who are directly interfacing to an organization's clients. For, you mentioned rocking a baby. This would be included. You're directly interfacing
Correct.
to what that organization is serving. There are other types of volunteers that do hands-on work. They bring their skills to the mission. They may have gathered specialized skills, carpentry, engineering, web design, and they bring their skills to the volunteering opportunity. There are others, again, with online work, and then there are other opportunities that tend to bring out the adventurous side of us. I'd like to show you some clips where the activity is basically rescuing people who have been caught in the forest or helping someone ski down a mountain.
Are you looking for more adventurous volunteering opportunities? The following video was recorded on location in Conway, New Hampshire. Liz Stokinger discusses a variety of aspects of what volunteering at AbilityPLUS is like. Hi, I'm here today with Liz Stokinger. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. We're at AbilityPLUS with Pemmy, the leaning dog. AbilityPLUS is an organization that caters to, I'm going to let you describe AbilityPLUS to me, please.
We're an adaptive sports program, and that means that we take people out with all different disabilities. We work with adults and children. We just take different sports, and primarily alpine skiing is our focus, and we adapt it to them, and we just find a way to get people out on the slopes and enjoying.
What sort of disabilities come to you to learn this?
We work with all populations. I'd say the majority of the clients we work with are children with autism, but we do work with veterans with disabilities, as well as people that are paraplegics, quadriplegics, stroke victims.
Veterans, paraplegics. Can you talk to me about what you do for these people?
Usually that's when a lot of our equipment comes into play, sit skis. A lot of the veterans come back with physical disabilities as well as post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
But when it comes to the physical disabilities, we start to look at the equipment.
Okay.
So balance problems, we can help address those.
Interesting. What is the age ranges? What the highest to lowest that of your clients?
We've worked from, I'd say, 3 or 4 to I think 93.
93 as a client?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm here today primarily to discuss your volunteering, the volunteering side of this business, because most of, as I understand it, most of the effort in the AbilityPLUS is conducted by volunteers.
Absolutely. So for this program, I am the program director and I have a part-time assistant, and other than that, it's all volunteers.
How many volunteers do you have?
Over 60, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what drives someone to volunteer at AbilityPLUS?
People are usually interested in just giving back to the community and giving back to something they love. So the sport of skiing, and they just want to help out.
And the age ranges of your volunteers?
14, I think 74 is the oldest.
74. Right now. Are these what does the volunteer do? I mean, he helps others to ski. He works.
They are our instructors. They do all the teaching.
They do all the teaching.
Yep, I get out there occasionally to teach, but there's so many other things I need to do that I leave it up to them.
So the volunteers are the teachers. They're the ones that are helping disabled people down the slopes.
Absolutely.
Wow. What sort of training do they have for this?
We actually start, for the alpine ski season, we start at the beginning of November, and right up till about Christmas time. They do training on the weekends, as well as some midweek clinics. We do different clinics on the different disciplines, so sit skiing or the outrigger usage, as well as clinics on post-traumatic stress disorder, autism, behavior management, and just teaching skiing. We have a lot of volunteers that come in that don't have teaching experience as far as skiing. So you can't adapt anything till you know the base.
That's right.
So we have to start there, and then we start to introduce all these other things through clinics.
Now, you say the oldest volunteer you have is 74. Is he going down the slopes with everyone else?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love hearing that.
Skiing circles around most of them. I'd say most of our volunteers are over the age of 45.
Really?
The majority of them.
Okay. Now, how does one come to volunteer here?
Again, it's word of mouth. We get a lot of people in that start to volunteer, and they start telling all their friends. So they start bringing them in. We put ads in the newspaper, our Facebook page, website, all those things. But again, it's word of mouth. I facilitate what goes on here, but it's just the magic that happens, the bonds that grow between people. Just if I think through some of the students, it really puts families back together.
Interesting.
Whether it's a parent that has an injury that has caused a disability, or a child that the family didn't know could do something that they had a passion for. It really brings families back together with a lifetime sport like skiing.
Is there health requirements to volunteer?
We certainly ask people to stay within their limits, and we do have volunteers that have disabilities of their own.
Do you crave even more adventure? Perhaps your contribution could lie with search and rescue missions. Solo in Conway, New Hampshire, trains volunteers for such missions. The following video was recorded on location in Conway, New Hampshire. Chris from Solo discusses a variety of aspects of volunteer training at their schools.
Anyone can sign up, and at any time we run courses year-round, both here and across the country. We run everything from 2-day first aid classes to Solo's Wilderness EMT program, which is a month long.
Wow.
You can go on the website, sign up. So the nice thing about the Solo program is that all of our programs are intensive. We don't offer a whole lot of semester-long programs.
Sure.
So people who are looking to volunteer out there, who are looking to get some additional skills to assist with search and rescue, or group leadership, or ski patrol, or things like that, if they already have a full-time job or family commitments, things like that, it allows them to come here and get these certifications in a fraction of the time, because they just plow through it in one sitting. So Solo, in addition to the school, has a state search and rescue team that's considered a non-transport team. So we'll go out and help move someone from the woods to the ambulance. When we have people who join here, or rather take courses here, and are looking to get more exposure into the backcountry, that's one option for them, is to sign up with the Solo search and rescue team. And then they just go on a call-out list. If we get called for someone injured on the side of Mount Washington, we'll go to our call list and say, here's what we have, who's available. So the Solo search and rescue team handles primarily White Mountain Valley, or the Mount Washington Valley, rather. But we're happy the skills would translate over anywhere, and we're happy to try to help people connect with search and rescue teams in their area, figure out how they can get involved there. Different parks have different teams that are...
So the training that's done here is applicable
nationally.
to... Okay.
Yeah.
So is there certification for...
Yeah, you finish the course with, if it's a first aid course, a wilderness first aid certification. With a first responder, you'd get a wilderness first responder, and then at the EMT level, you finish your course with your wilderness EMT certification, and then your National Registry of EMT certification, which is a nationally accepted urban EMT skill.
Can you talk about the older volunteers that you typically get in Solo?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times there's this almost misconception that doing search and rescue and doing sort of backcountry adventure is something for the younger generation. And one of the most uplifting things that we see at Solo is people coming in who have hiked their whole lives or camped their whole lives, who now finally have the time to go back to it. And it's something that you can't replicate that experience. You know, someone who's got 30 years under their belt of reading a compass and figuring out how to stay out of the elements, and then you get them in these classes, and you tend to see an interesting dynamic change with those students, because you have young students who, I've been skiing for 5 years, and I'm on top of my game, and then you have the 60-year-old who has been skiing for 50 years and has been all over the world doing it, and just the amount of sort of encouragement and influence they can provide really enriches the class.
Now, what skills does a volunteer need in order to come to this?
Absolutely none.
Absolutely none.
Yep.
Just
an
interest.
Totally green and just looking to learn.
Some further suggestions for adventurous volunteering might be a forest park ranger, emergency medical technicians, volunteering opportunities abroad, festival or event volunteering, sports camp volunteers, or adaptive sports volunteers.
So the range of activities that we can get into as a volunteer is not limited. It's limited only by our own understanding, exposure, and what is around us. Now, I want to explore how we go about finding these opportunities, how we go about finding an opportunity that is specific to us. So the first step, as you just indicated, in finding the right volunteering experience is to know yourself.
Yes.
You have to know yourself. So knowing yourself is critical. The next step is searching. With the information you've gathered about yourself, searching. The infrastructure to support all this, to my surprise, is there. So searching online is not a problem anymore.
We have to remember, too, Lee, that a lot of seniors aren't very comfortable with the internet. We take it for granted.
Yes, that's
we have
right.
computers, we're used to it, but not everybody in this particular age group is that comfortable using computers. So you can always go to your local library. There's a wealth of information there, and you just need to talk to the ladies there, the gentlemen, and someone can guide you.
Now, once we have located a few opportunities that seem to fit us, then the next step there, we have to start to explore those opportunities more closely. We've asked questions about ourselves, we've isolated a few opportunities that could serve our passions, and now we have to present ourselves to the organization, and they have to present themselves to us.
Correct.
So it's time to meet the people inside of the organization. What sort of advice would you give there?
You need to tour the volunteer activity. You need to go there. You need to see what they do. Ask for their mission statement. You know, those
That's good
are
advice.
important. The mission statement strikes a chord with me because if you don't agree with the mission, it's not going to be the right opportunity for you at all.
That doesn't say that something's wrong with the mission. It just means that the
Correct.
alignment between you
Exactly.
and the mission may not provide the best opportunity for you and the organization to work together.
Yes.
So it is important that any opportunity that you're looking for, you go in and meet the people, talk to the person who's responsible for managing volunteers. Is he interested in you? Is he interested in training? Is there training opportunities? If there are no training opportunities, what's the skill level? Especially if you are in direct contact with the organization's clients, there must be training involved. If there's no training, raise a red flag in your mind.
Volunteer training at AbilityPLUS. Today you are training volunteers. Tell me about this training.
We have a lot of people that have never done anything like this before. They might not have worked with people with disabilities or taught skiing. So we have to teach all of that. We have a short window to do it, but we tend to pair up experienced volunteers with the new volunteers so that they can learn along the way. We have volunteers of all different skill levels. We have some people that are not great skiers of their own. Maybe they can ski a green show, maybe not. But we have, I'd say the majority of our volunteer instructors are retirement age or close to it. And they bring a lot of just world skills with them. They bring a lot of patience, all kinds of ski experience, because most of them have been skiing all their lives.
Mind if I speak to one or two of your volunteers?
That would be great.
I've been with AbilityPLUS now about 6-7 years.
What encouraged you to come aboard?
Well, I've always wanted to work with disabled people all my life.
Really?
I get into another area of occupation and brought up a family and just never had the opportunity. When I started to get close to retirement and then retired, it was my chance to get into it as much as possible.
And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
70.
You're 70 years old?
Yeah.
And you're still skiing like a little kid?
Little kid is probably not the best description, but I'm still able to do it, and I do it within my abilities. And there's so many people up here in my demographic age group that have that can-do attitude.
Yes.
And you can't always do what you used to, but you can still do it.
That's right.
And so, as long as I can do it,
You've been here for so many years. What keeps you coming back?
I think our successes keep me coming back.
Our success. Describe that, please.
Well, you have some students that really don't have much of a life. They don't get a chance for inclusion. Get out, get some fresh air, do just fun things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some students over the long term that we've brought from not even able to stand up on their own to skiing on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That is so rewarding, and I think that's the main thing. But and also the people that I work with, the volunteers, they're just a great bunch of people. They have a can-do attitude.
Yes.
Liz mentioned patience. That's probably without that, you're not going to be successful.
How often are you volunteering here?
Well, as often as I can.
As often as you can.
I do have a family in the valley, and I try to balance my time here with my family obligations. And sometimes that's becomes a bit of a struggle, but as often as I can, I'll be here.
Now, I've been speaking to a number of people, Liz and others, and they all seem to look at you as the wild old crazy man, right? Yeah. Do you enjoy this reputation?
Sure.
Okay.
The wise is encouraging. Old and crazy is just speaking the truth, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. Volunteer training at Solo.
We offer a 2-day wilderness first aid course. Solo offers a 8 to 10 day, depending on which course, an intensive or a standard wilderness first responder course, which is 80 hours.
Okay.
And then a month-long, 4 Monday through Friday weeks EMT course, which would also factor in clinical rotations at the hospital and fire department.
What just happened there?
So what we're doing, this is the last day of a wilderness first responder course. And so there's a series of scenarios. We focus everything on experiential learning here. So they'll do scenarios throughout the day, every day of the course. And then the final day, their big finale test essentially is doing a one-on-one assessment. So they'll go out, find a patient, and they have to run through a full patient exam, find any issues, ailments, do all the treatments they deem necessary, and then write up a patient care report from scratch, outlining what they're doing, what they've done, what they need.
There's also an application process that you have to go through. You'll have to give the organization some information about yourself, and you'll have to get accustomed to that. It's not as severe as applying to a job, but it can be quite daunting if you're not prepared for that. So please be aware that you will have to give off information about who you are, what you are, and when you are as you apply to these things.
I think the most important part is staying engaged in the world. That engagement makes for a better longevity of life, a happier life. It gives back more to them.
From some of the videos we saw early in the show, the effect on the volunteer itself is what's most significant that I've seen. I've seen people, 70-year-olds, who walk like they're 30.